Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna cut his hair down wavelength. Now he's been woofing for about 3 weeks. And when you've been woofing, you don't wanna cut the hair really lower than a 1.5. It just depends on the hair texture. So I'm gonna cut his hair down with the 1.5 and then that should show his progress. As I stated, I'm using the 1.5 and the lever is fully open. That means the lever is pushed all of the way back. Now when the lever is fully open, that means it cuts off less hair. And I'm just going with the grain of his hair. And the reason I'm having the lever open is because, as you'll see, he has a good wave pattern, but there are still some forks and his waves are not connected completely around in some areas, so I don't want to cut it too low. So usually when you're trying to get deep waves, you have to repeat this woofing process like 2 to 3 times. If you're a serious waver, as you'll look on YouTube and you'll see several videos of wavers, they woof several times a year just to improve on their connections. So you can especially see in the back, you can see the waves forming, but they're not as defined. That's why I'm not cutting the hair super low. And like I said, he will probably do this another 1 or 2 times to get his connections like he wants them to. Okay, next we're gonna make our bald guidelines for our taper. We're gonna do this on both sides and in the back. Notice I have my finger right there, that way I don't nick his ear. That's very important because if you were to cut somebody right there, it will bleed a lot. But here I'm just taking the 1.5 again. And if you look up in the left-hand corner, I have the guard numbers. So every time I change a guard, that number will change. And then this is not gonna be a high taper. This is gonna be pretty much a standard mid taper. I'm not gonna call it a low taper, but a mid taper. So we're not gonna go as high. And if you really notice, I'm only using about half of the blade. It's mainly the left side that I'm using. And I tell people all the time, doing a taper is just like a fade, except you're doing it in a smaller space. So that's the only difference. You're still following the same steps. So you just see me gradually open the lever until I get to the top of that guideline. Okay, now I have on the number 1 guard. And I'm going up under that 1.5. And then I fully close the lever to take off more hair. And notice how I'm using my thumb because I want a tighter blend. Using your thumb, it stretches the skin and it exposes more hair. So that's why you always see me using my thumb. It helps feed the hair into the clipper better. And tapers, it's all about using the corner of the blades. Because you don't have a large space to fade in, it's very important to use the corners. And then here we have on the half guard, and we're going up under that number 1. Like I said, we don't have a lot of space, but we just want to make sure that everything is smooth and that it flows together. And if you're new and you're beginning to cut hair, I will say, from cutting all types of hair, I will say that coarse and curly hair, it can be the most difficult to blend. So if you learn how to cut coarse / curly hair first, I think cutting straight hair for you will be a breeze. So tackle, don't be afraid of, if you cut mostly straight hair, don't be afraid to try to cut coarse / curly hair. And vice versa, if you cut mostly coarse hair, don't be scared to cut straight hair. In my opinion, it's easier to fade straight hair, but like I said, you want to get versatile as possible. And the steps they're really the exact same, honestly. But here in the back, in the neck taper, I'm just following the same steps that I did on the right side, except I have a lot more space. So here I'm taking the 1.5 and I'm just debulking that hair. The reason I said coarse hair is a little bit more difficult to blend is because the texture of the hair is so tight that you have to work the clippers just a little bit more to get the hair to blend like you want it to. As opposed with straight hair, whenever you feed the teeth of the clipper through the hair, it's gonna take it right off. But with coarse hair, it's a little bit more resistant, so you have to work just a little bit harder. But nonetheless, if you follow the same steps, you will get the same result, no matter what hair type you're fading. So here I just have on the 1 guard and I'm going up under that 1.5. And here we close the lever. So when you're blending with your 1 guard, one thing that's easy to remember, open, closed, halfway. If you can remember that, it will be really easy for you to fade with your 1 guard. So open, closed, halfway. So now you see me going halfway. And then of course you may have to adjust the lever just a little bit here and there to get a few dark spots. But if you just remember open, closed, and halfway, that will help it. That will make it a lot easier for you. All right, so here we have on the half guard, and we're just going up under that 1 guard. And the thing about neck tapers, some people's hair, it swirls around the neck area, around the occipital bone, so you just have to be careful in certain instances. So right here, I'm just taking the 1 guard and I'm trimming down his edges on his line, so that way his hair doesn't curl up when it grows back on his edge up. And then here I'm just applying some holding spray just to make his hair stand still, so whenever I get ready to line his hair, it will be laid down and it won't move. Like I said, guys, his waves are coming in very nicely. But if he whoops once or twice, you know, again, then he'll definitely have his connections. And this is a very important step when cutting hair. It's just getting those fly hairs, those loose hairs, just to make sure everything is very nice and neat. And then here I'm just moving on with the edge up. And I've said this in other videos, my clippers aren't set super sharp. They're not exactly 0 gap, but they are adjusted, if that makes sense. My clippers are set to where I can use them on sensitive hair types or anyone with tough skin. So that's why I don't 0 gap my clippers. And I go back with the razor anyway, so it's not necessary to have my clippers just set extremely sharp. The main reason I do that is because I don't want to nick anybody. And whenever I'm cutting someone new for the first time, I know that I'm not applying a lot of pressure, but I always ask them, hey, is this uncomfortable? Are you feeling any discomfort? And they always give me feedback. So it's very important to pay attention to your clients' gestures and how they react to when you do certain things when you're cutting their hair. But yeah, guys, we're just trying to find that balance between natural and sharp. And then one thing that you will notice with certain people, so on people's temples area, a lot of people's C cup, it grows different on either side. So you just have to adjust it as naturally as possible. You may have to take off a little more here and there to make them even. But like I said, a lot of times people's sides, they grow different. The hair may be more dense on one side or lighter on another side. And then behind the ear, you never want to take it up too high. You just want to keep the natural arch. And the key to getting, you know, a smooth arch is just to use the corner of the blade. And I always stress that this is a key step to me to any haircut. The razor, it just gives an extra crispness to the haircut, and it makes the line last longer. It gets those fine hairs that the clippers just can't cut close enough to get. And when you're using a razor, you always have to keep tension on the skin. One small slip and you can literally open someone's skin up, and you do not want that on your hands. And then to finish the haircut off, we're just applying some oil sheen to give his hair some luster. Like I said, those waves, they're set in pretty good. So if you found value out of this video, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you guys think about this haircut in the comments. I will see you guys on the next video.